So have you finished throwing things around the kitchen?
Yes, I have. Yes, and thank you very much for clearing it up. Now, serious thing. I've got a serious question for you now. Would you like to see my dumplings?
Always.
Okay, well, I'm making today. This is a kind of a chicken throw it all in dish because we had a roast on Sunday, and obviously roast chicken, it had some leftovers, some veg. I'm not going to put the roast potatoes in. We'll draw a line there, but I've got a bit of leftover chicken, leftover veg, a bit of extra veg. So I thought I'd make my chicken casserole with thyme dumplings on top.
Lovely.
Because it is kind of autumnal, isn't it? And I think we're going to have a bit of a mini heat wave coming up. Normally do in September, but it is a bit autumnal, so I just thought this is just a perfect dish. And dumplings, there's nothing like a dumpling, is there, sir?
Is it from your book?
No, this one isn't. I've got 2 dumpling recipes in my book. I have lamb with damsons and rosemary dumplings, which I'm going to do soon because I did promise, and I have some lamb in the freezer. I've just got to get the damsons. If I can't get those, I'll use plums. And I also have a beef and orange casserole with walnut, pecan and mustard dumplings as well, which that's very special.
So maybe when the walnuts come off the tree, you could...
Yeah, go out foraging. I could do that, but because I was waiting for you to say, never had that before, because I'm a poor little person and I never get anything out of the book.
That's really not very attractive.
I'm going to use my camping stove again, because it's just easier than you having to come over to the cooker all the time. So
if you can get it working,
I know exactly what I'm doing. I've done this loads of times. Do you know, when all the years of my TV career, the amount of camping stoves I've had, because we've been doing cooking in the garden and stuff. We bought this so we could do sausage sizzles on the beach. I like a sausage sizzle on the beach. It's fun. Right, so I'm going to just melt this butter. And I'm going to add to that this onion. This is just chopped white onion, roughly chopped. It's a casserole. It doesn't need to be fine dining, it's just chopped. Now you can put whatever veggies you've got left over. Oh, I tell you what I also have. I have some, I have a squash over there I could put in. A beautiful squash, that would be quite nice. I'll bulk it out of it, wouldn't it? Which one do you want?
Do I have to choose?
Aren't these fine? These are fine squashes. I can't remember the name of them. It'll come to me and I'll tell you in the bit underneath the video. I can't remember. We got them from New McDonald's farm the other day. So I think we'll put a bit of squash in there. Anyway, we're going to just fry these onions. Okay. It's not particularly hot, these camping stoves, probably because we're running out of oil gas. I'll put the mushrooms in as well. Sweat them down. Boom, boom. And then in here I've got some fresh sage leaves. Just a few go in. And then a couple of bay leaves as well. Just rip them, put them in as well. Fry your herbs. Helps release all those essential oils, okay? And the mistake people make, and I remember seeing the late Gary Rose say this once, bless him, and it was people just put the herbs on top of their casserole, put the lid on, and then just walk away. Well, actually all you're doing is imparting the flavour of the herbs on the lid, as opposed to actually inside the stew. So it's really important to cook your herbs. So I'm going to fry them off right at the beginning to help release that flavour. Let me just go through what else I'm putting in my stew with dumplings. Spinach, this is frozen spinach. It's what was left over in the freezer, hence the mess on the floor, because I managed to empty an entire drawer from the freezer on the floor, including lots of ice cubes. That was the mess. So, frozen spinach, just zap that in the microwave to defrost it. That's the leftover plus a little bit more. We had broccoli the other night. I just added a tiny bit more, just pre-cooked it, but most of it is left over from the other day. And then, of course, all the chicken that we took off the carcass. And then we're also going to put some lemon zest in there as well. That will really lighten up this stew. And some chicken stock and a bit of creme fraiche. So that's going to be in the bottom of this pan, this dish. And then I'm going to make some dumplings. See, I put them on top. It's all going to be cooked together and it's such a glorious dish. Right, so while those are cooking, let me do this. You can always come back, John, because it's a bit laborious. Now, I'm only going to do half this squash. And I'm going to bake the rest. I've just cut it up really into really tiny pieces, so it just cooks quicker, because this isn't like a casserole that I'm going to spend ages cooking. Fairly instant one, really. It's probably going to take about sort of half an hour in the oven once I've made the sauce. So just small pieces are better, they cook quicker. It's the sort of squash I think, ideally, you bake. So you just take the seeds out, sprinkle it with a bit of olive oil, a bit of fresh thyme, pop it in the oven until it all softens up and you can eat the skin as well. So it's that type of squash. But for this, it's absolutely fine. You can use a butternut squash if you want to as well, which is great. All right, so that looks lovely and colourful and autumnal, doesn't it? So next, I'm going to add some flour, and this is just going to help thicken the sauce. So I'm just going to turn the heat down a little bit and sprinkle over some plain flour, which I'll then cook. All right? I'm going to cook this flour. It's not like a white sauce where you then just bung in milk straight away. This is a velouté sauce where you're actually going to cook your roux for a little while, so it's sort of like straw coloured. And that just makes it slightly nutty, and it also makes sure that the colour of the sauce is slightly deeper. You want a richer looking sauce. Yeah. Just give that a few mins, maybe just a tiny bit more. I want it to be fairly thick to start with. I'll add the stock and then I'm going to let it down. You got any wine left?
Yeah.
Might put a tiny bit of wine in there. Also might put a bit of Dijon as well, actually. Oh look, I'm managing to open the fridge and not throw everything all over the place. I don't know.
And you shut the door.
And I shut the door. Okay, so it's smelling good, isn't it?
Smells
Smelling
lovely.
good already. Okay, so we're going to add. This is just stock cube. It goes up quite quickly. It's brilliant. Just how I want it. So add a little bit more. There's a little bit of wine as well, which I actually meant to add before. I'll add a bit of wine now. Let that just turn the heat up. Let that just thicken. I'm just going to keep adding the stock now until I get a nice consistency. So, and then let it boil and simmer for about 1 minute or two. So come back. There we are. So I've added as much stock as I want, probably about half a litre, no, maybe 3/4 of a litre of water went into there. So it's just bubbling away. It's a lovely consistency. Grated a lemon. So that just lifts the flavour of this beautifully. Lemon and chicken, marriage made in heaven. So that's gone in as well. And now I'm going to pop in my chicken pieces. I have checked over it for bones. You know, there's always one that sneaks in, isn't there? It's usually you that gets it as well, isn't it? And then we're going to put the veggies in. So I've got broccoli to go in. Actually, let's put a bit of creme fraiche in first, actually. Just put a little tad of creme fraiche, just enriching this up. You don't have to put it if you don't want to, but I just, yeah, we're doing it. And also maybe just a tad of this little mustard as well. Not much left of mine, Dijon. We need to put that on the shopping list. Stack it. Stir. Does that look good so far to you?
That's lovely.
It's a nice place to pop your dumplings on top of a stew like this. Broccoli, leftovers. This is tender stem. You can use ordinary broccoli if you want to. And then this spinach, I'm just going to have to squeeze it in there. I'm going to have to just squeeze it through my hands. Ooh, because I did squeeze it once, but it's never enough with spinach. There we go. How does that look? Now that, if you did want to go down the dumpling road, just that on top of a jacket potato, I think would be gorgeous. Or some rum. Rum?
Rum?
I meant to say rice. Where did rum come from? Oh dear. Right, I'm just going to have a little try. A bit more salt, a bit of black pepper. Do you know, I actually think that I could take a little bit more lemon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grate some more lemon, I'm going to put it in that bowl, and then you can come back and we'll do some dumplings. So those of you with an eagle eye will now look at that dish there and say, oh, that's changed from a nice round pink one. That's because I bet it wasn't deep enough, so I got a deeper pie dish, because I've got to get my dumplings on there, which I'm making now. So these are thyme dumplings, so they're just really so simple to make. It is self-raising flour, double the amount to suet, and then lots and lots of fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh, You can use dry, just use half the amount. So I probably do about a teaspoon of dried thyme in here, which is about 2 teaspoons worth of the fresh. And just, you know, I've got all the stalks here because I've just picked it. Do keep the stalks. I just put them in a little bag and I add those when I do a roast chicken. And I usually put water around the roast chicken with loads of vegetables. I just put these stalks in because there's still loads of flavour in them. You might have to not have the leaves, but don't waste the stalks. It's always worth keeping them. And they're great as well if you want to do something in the barbecue. Anyway, lots of salt into these dumplings, okay? I hate a bland dumpling. And do you know, once I did a show years ago called the Terry and Gabby Show. It was just before the show finished, actually. I went on there and I did a dumpling dish with Terry.
Terry Wogan.
The old Terry Wogan. No, he was just so good. He was such a lovely man. And I just remember saying to him, Terry, would you like to see my dumplings? Just like I said to you today. Exactly the same.
What was his answer?
He laughed and he said, absolutely, Lottie. Oh, no, absolutely, Lottie. Yeah, it was this Irish accent, wasn't it? So I'm now going to pop the suet into there. Just bring it all together, like that. And then we add to that water until we get a good consistency. And that is literally just me putting my hands in and mixing it together until I think it's right. You want it sticky. You don't want dry dumplings. Really don't want dry dumplings. You actually would like, I prefer them to be slightly sticky. So stickier than dry, because they just fluff up with the self-raising flour on top of the stew. So you make the little balls, you pop them on top, you cover it for 15 minutes, and then you take the cover off, you flip them over, and then you put them in for another 15 minutes. So both sides of the dumplings get all lovely gravy soaked, and also on top nice and crunchy. Roll them into little balls, about golf size, ball size. Just plop them over the top. And because it's self-raising flour, they're going to be light, but it also means you have to cook them straight away, okay? Don't just have this hanging around, because they'll be like stones and they'll sink to the bottom. So you want them to be nice and light and fluffy, and that's where the self-raising flour comes in. One more there, and then two in the middle, and I think we're done. Okay, so I'm going to cover that in foil. As I said, bung it in the oven. Bring it out after 15 minutes, come back, because then I'm going to show you how to flip them. So I've just turned over most of them. I've just got the last couple to do. So you can see they're still slightly undercooked, or quite a lot undercooked underneath, and that's absolutely right. So this took actually about 20 minutes in the oven to do this before I turned them. So I would go with about another 15. That should do it. Right, flip them over, back in the oven. Well, we're uncovered. That's what I say. Back in the oven, uncovered, and come and see me in a moment. That looks absolutely magnificent. Doesn't that look amazing? My lovely, look, see how cooked? But they're going to be fluffy. They're going to be so fluffy and delicious. Right, I have to get in there, my darling. Should I go in here? So dumpling, and then dig down underneath the dumplings to get some of that gorgeous stew and chicken and spinach and everything. Gorgeous. Try the dumpling first. Light and fluffy. Oh my goodness. Oh, they're lovely. No, all together, because I can smell that lemon on there as well. Good to add the extra. Oh. What I love about autumn is the chance to eat dumplings. Guilt-free. You can eat your dumplings guilt-free in the autumn. That is a wonderful, wonderful dish to herald the next season. So, you go away, you let me eat these now, but you've really got to give this one a go, because it is a scrumptious way to use up that leftover chicken and veg.